You are now listening to a member of the Disney Podcast family. Head over to Disney Podcast Family on Instagram to see all the latest posts for this show and links to other great Disney podcasts.
Welcome back to Miles from Main Street. This week, we're talking about dining at Disney.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las
This here's the wildest ride in the history.
In this train travel, doors change.
Hello there, Stuart. How you doing this week?
Very good. How are you doing, Brian?
Pretty good. You know, I just went to Unofficial Galaxies, a Star Wars exhibit at the brand new art museum that's in town, and
Nice.
it was really cool. They had a lot of mostly like costumes that were worn in the movies.
Mhm.
And it's put together by a private collector, which is why it's called Unofficial Galaxies. Um, and the first thing that this person bought for their collection was actually a land speeder that they used in Return of the Jedi. So that's cool.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so that was neat to see. That was maybe the jewel of the collection for me. They did have Anakin's original desk from episode 1 and claimed that that was the most expensive item of the exhibit. So I don't know.
Anakin's when he's in when he's being taught in school?
No, his desk in his room when he's like creating
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry,
And also
I might
his
have-
helmet from the pod racer, his helmet was sitting there too, so that was cool.
That's cool.
The signs mostly talked about who the characters were that you were looking at. It didn't really talk about the costume itself. So like I kind of, obviously being nosy, I want to know what the person did to acquire it, or to or where it comes from, or what part of the movie
Yeah,
or if it was real or a replica or something like that. Most of the lightsaber things were replicas that were built from the cast that they did for the originals. So that was kind of neat seeing that.
That's really cool. Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Sorry. They did have some of the old toys from way back when, and I was able to glean from the information that it is a UK collector, someone from the United Kingdom that put it together. So made me want to go out and find a way to get to Rancho Obi-Wan though, and see that collection.
Well, you just got to buy your $5,000 drink at the Galaxy. Oh, you can't get that drink anymore. We're actually gearing up for May the 4th celebration this year. Again, up in about 2 hours north of you, where we're gonna watch Return of the Jedi on the big screen and have a bunch of people show up in cosplay. And the local game store is sponsoring it again, and he's gonna have the new Star Wars trading card game out and demoing and all that sort of stuff. So it's gonna be that's the Star Wars thing on my plate. Not to try to one up or anything like that, but it seems to be that time of year again when you start thinking about Star Wars.
Yeah, they're showing all the movies. Apparently, they have this state-of-the-art movie theater that is one of only 3 in the country. The other 2 are located in LA and New York. And yeah, like I don't know. It's supposed to be like this really awesome.
Who is that?
The Mulva Cultural Center. Yeah, they have
Mulva?
the MULVA. So it's supposed to be like some world-class movie theater, and They are showing all of the Star Wars movies from episode 1 through episode 9, including Solo and Rogue One in there. So,
Samsung Onyx screens. One of only 3 in the country: Los Angeles, Houston, and De Pere.
oh, Houston. I thought it was New York. So there you go. Yeah. So I'm looking at trying to go see A New Hope in a couple of weeks here, but
I mean, that's the one to go see. Really?
yeah, we were trying to get together. My buddy and I were trying to get together for Empire or Jedi, and we're just jam packed with too many things going on, so we don't match up. It's either a Friday or a Saturday night, and of course we're busy. So, so yeah, we won't be able to see that there. But if I can make it to Star Wars, I'll let you know how that movie theater is.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
they show documentaries and indie films, and the Star Wars thing is only because of the exhibit they're running right now. But
I mean, I'm looking at their schedule, and they've got like Donnie Darko and The Magnificent Seven and Rebecca and Chicago. I mean, these are not small, nothing movies. These are not. I mean, some of those are like, Donnie Darko is probably an indie movie, but Rebecca and Magnificent Seven, those are pretty substantial names, and Donnie Darko is a cult following, and Chicago is huge. I mean, it won a bunch of Oscars in its day, and it is visually very stunning. So yeah, I mean, thank you for telling me about that. I might have to figure out how to go see Star Wars: A New Hope on the days that it's down there. So
yeah, it's I've heard a lot of good things, and when they show these movies, they're only $5. So
are you kidding me? Okay, yes,
I am not kidding.
Okay, off the call, you need to tell me what day you're trying to get down there, because $5 to see A New Hope on a big screen like that. That's gonna happen, or at least I'm gonna try to make it happen. We'll see.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. All right, before we get too far into this, please subscribe to the show on your podcast app or on YouTube, and be sure to share it with your friends and family. Remember, new episodes every Tuesday, and on Fridays, find the Disney Dash, a short form podcast with my daughter Mia, where she is talking Disney from A to Z from a kid's perspective. M is for Mad Hatter. That was the last one. She just loves doing this and is having a great time, and you can hear it when she's on and talking about it and having a great time with it. So come check it out. All right. We're talking dining.
Food, the number one reason to go to Disney, has nothing to do with the characters, although you can do character dining. Has nothing to do with the attractions, although you can wrap it into attractions. It is the number one reason to go to Walt Disney.
Yes, but Stuart, I don't have to eat their food. I can bring my own.
Yes, and in fact, I will not cast shade on you if you do that, because sometimes it's a budgetary reason. Sometimes you can't eat the food that they have there, and that's sad. But if you got to bring yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich made with, not peanuts and not jelly and not bread, you go right ahead and do that. That do you. But
it is, I mean, I often tell people that Disney can be as expensive as you want it to be, and that yes, there are some base prices that you're going to have to pay, but it doesn't have to be outrageous, and you can spend it. Spend money the way you want to spend it, and you can bring your own food in. I have watched people open up their backpacks and pull out those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches while waiting for a ride. As well.
One of the things that we do is we try to say we're going to have at least one sit-down meal. It's like we try to prioritize our buying of food at the parks, right? So we're going to lump all of those funds into one meal, right? So we want to sit down at somewhere really nice, or has a bunch of characters, or is themed, or is super high fancy or whatever, right? That's what we're going to dump all of that into. And then we'll bring peanut butter and chantilly sandwiches. We'll bring, we carry lots of string cheese. That's what we carry. And, granola and, berries and stuff like that, snacky things. Because honestly, if you have a group of 5 people, to try to get them in line is an act of God. And try to get them in line to go is a miracle in itself. So to then take away that time to go eat at a restaurant, even if it's quick service, is still. I mean, that's a movement, and so it's hard to coordinate all that time. So if you can be like, we've got snacks that are ready to go, protein, beef jerky, string cheese, stuff like this that's ready to go, then yeah, that's perfect. And then we dump all of our dining credits or whatever it is into going to nice places at the end of the night, or character breakfasts in the morning, or however else we choose to do it. But yeah, what do you guys do?
So we typically will not use dining plan, although we're going to get into dining plans here and kind of outline what it would look like. We have done the dining plan, but we have chosen that it just works better for us not to. It can be a lot of food to be on the dining plan. So we, for the most part, will either eat quick service or just snack our way around. When we're at Epcot, we like doing flowering, or we like to do the festival, try all those different foods. It's usually plenty for us to eat, to do that type of thing. We will do our character breakfasts. The last time we were down there, we did a character dinner, we did a character breakfast. We did not. I think everything else on that trip was quick service, either at the hotel or in the parks. With the snacks around too. It wasn't really. We don't like taking time in the park to sit down and eat. There's just much more you can do, and especially in the case of Magic Kingdom, I don't feel like there's a restaurant there worth sitting down for. And I say that, but if someone really pressed me on it, I would probably push Cinderella's Royal Table the most. If you're going to sit down somewhere, that's going to be pricey though at the same time. Anyway, that's how we do things. We tend to quick service, grab things on the go. There are a lot of things that we're trying to accomplish in a Disney day. So sitting down to eat tends to become a quick break to get a little strength and keep moving. So,
and again, if that's the way you like to do Disney, I think that's the best way to do Disney. You would probably travel really well with my wife, who's go. So to illustrate that, we went. Oh my gosh, must have been 15 years ago now. My middle child was super little. So yeah, 14, 15 years ago. They were babe in arms, right?
Yeah.
And this was in Disneyland back before they even bought Lucasfilm. So there was a sort of this cowboy stable thing back there, where they house the horses or whatever. Sure. And you could sit down and eat this backyard barbecue. And my so we sat down, and it was family style, so they bring out all the ribs and the corn and all this stuff. And my oldest has the food allergy, so like we had to get special corn made. And that's the other thing about Disney, is they will absolutely go above and beyond. It doesn't matter for food allergies. If you are a person who has food allergies and you're trepidatious about going to Disney, do not be. Because you will contact your travel agent, they will tell them when they make your reservations on the thing, and then you will be contacted by somebody at Disney, and you will talk about all of your food allergies. And then you will have an experience. And then you go to the restaurant, you say, hey, by the way, I'm the person with the food allergies, and they'll be like, great, here's a chef, the head chef. You're going to tell them everything, and they're going to find you something. They're going to figure out how to make you walk away from that meal feeling happy and wonderful, just like Disney does every other time.
And that was something we highlighted, was that they will take care of you. It doesn't matter where you go. If you have an allergy, that chef is required to come out and talk to you before serving you. And that, I think that is an incredible piece of Disney, that they take care of you in that way. And I've heard that from day one of getting involved with all this Disney stuff and learning how all of that, they will make sure that if you have an allergy, you are taken care of.
So yes. So anyway, my oldest had their allergy, whatever they had, and my wife and they ate and they were ready to go and they were zipped back onto the rides. And my youngest and I and my parents, I think, sat there listening to the Wandering Cowboy singing songs while this lap child gorged herself on baked beans and ribs for like 2 hours. So, and now to this day, one likes riding roller coasters and one doesn't. So, can you guess which ones are which? That's what I like about Disney, is everybody gets to do their thing, right? You can't.
Right.
It's hard to narrow things down. And so when we travel, it's a lot of like, okay, what do we want to do? And the olders are getting to the point now where we can just be like, go away, go out into the world, just don't leave the park.
Yeah. Yeah, that was nice when our older two were able to do that too, and we could just say, go, meet up with you later. And cell phones are great for that. So there's two ways of doing this with dining. You can either pay for the dining plan and have it prepaid. There has been a lot of talk around the dining plan that you have to get your money's worth, right?
Yeah.
The problem with that is that it takes some planning and a lot of eating to get your money's worth. But there is something to be said about peace of mind and knowing that it's already paid for. So if you want your food prepaid, looking at the dining plan is a good option.
Or if you're traveling on a budget. I mean, I think this works really well for people who are on a budget, because if you can walk up to a travel agent and say, we have X amount of dollars, and they are able to find you a dining plan, and it works within your budget, you now have spent all that money ahead of time. And so then maybe you can save up a little bit more to get you a little bit more treat, a souvenir or something, or I don't know, not pay a bill that you maybe weren't going to. Something you're able to save up a little bit more. So what I like about the dining plan is that it's paying for all that food ahead of time. But continue. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I think that's that's what we should be talking about right now, is how the dining plan can work, and I agree. There is, like I said, peace of mind with having it prepaid. It does go as part of your package, so you can add it at any time. You can add it when you book. You can add it at 30 days. You can add it when you get there, but it has to be added right away. You can't add it at the end. So when you get there, you can say, I'm ready to add on this thing and pay for it at that moment. Or you can put it on as part of your package, put the $200 down and work it through a payment system that you set up yourself. The flip side of prepay, budget, all that stuff is that you can put it towards a gift card instead and have that money on a gift card that you then have set aside to spend on food. this is where that peace of mind kind of falls apart a little bit, because yeah, you've prepaid, you've got it on a gift card, but now you're worried about whether you have enough on that gift card.
Mm-hmm.
And the dining plan will take care of that for you because you've paid for it. You go to a restaurant, you say, I'm on the dining plan. And they say, okay, you get an appetizer, you get an entree, and you get a drink. And if you're 21, it can be an alcoholic beverage. If you're not 21, find those specialty beverages that they offer, because guess
Mm-hmm.
what? You get that. And which I typically don't do the dining plan because my wife and I will split meals because they can be so plentiful. I tend to shy away from specialty beverages with my kids because that's money that I don't need to be spending. There's that peace of mind again, right? So those are some ideas, some things to think about when you're planning your trip and how you want to handle dining and eating, and whether you should order food from a grocery store and have it delivered to your room, all that good stuff. I mean, that's how it works. And like I said, for us, we buy so many snacks that it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't pay to sit down twice a day, even if it's quick service, because we don't necessarily do that.
The one time we did use the dining plan, um, we stayed on property, and a real quick asterisk: you have to stay on property in order for the dining plan to work, because
Right.
it gets rolled into your hotel reservation. So you can't stay off property and roll it into your ticket price. But so we stayed on property, and that was great. And we were able to go to several different restaurants that we wouldn't necessarily have decided to go to, the Boathouse being one of them. And we were able to make that work with the five of us at the same time. And so we wouldn't have been able to go to that restaurant had we not done the dining plan. And I think that's I think that's the other benefit that it allows, that it affords. I never understood the I don't have my money's worth. I don't have my money's worth. You absolutely do if use it in a creative way. At that time, Boathouse was a two dining thing. So it's at the time you would do it was like one credit for lunch and one credit for dinner or something like that. But there were some restaurants that had a two credit thing. So
Right.
you would use one of those. You'd use that on like your big day, and then you'd have a little appetizer in the morning or something like that, right? That's what we did. And my oldest had swordfish for dinner at the Boathouse. Like, who
Why
has
not?
swordfish for dinner at the Boathouse? Well, this little kid who can't eat anything but you know um, cleanly processed proteins, right? So we that's the type of thing where I think the dining plan really shines. And I understand the comments of like people leaving and going, well, now I have 16, quick service things and I can't have 16 bottles of water. Well, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how to argue that. Except to say that maybe you should have bought bottles of water earlier in the day. I don't know. But maybe I think they've revamped it a little bit to where they don't necessarily break down like that. But I'm
Well,
not
and we'll get into
traveling.
that shortly here. The last thing I'm going to say is that, to your point of having snack credits left over, we went to the last time that I was on dining plan with my mother-in-law. We'd say, well, why don't we hang on to the credit at this point and save it for something else? Because we always did like having a few left over at the end of the week so that we could go buy some stuff to take home. Um, like trail mix and baked
Hmm.
candy and that stuff, which is not a good use of your dining credit. But we always like to have a few left over just for that reason. Well, what she was doing was that she would take off with her kids to do things because we would want to go on something they couldn't ride yet. And she would just throw the money out for all the snacks that these kids were wanting. And it's like, no, you should be using dining plan. So we ended up with like 30 some credits left at the end of that week, and it's like, okay, this is a little ridiculous. But all right.
Well,
So I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, there's still thought that you want to put into how you're going to spend those credits, but you're not having to worry about dollars and if you're going to run out.
mhm.
You just at least know that you have enough to eat for the week, right?
And you're going to be able to try stuff that you wouldn't normally try. So the Boathouse, again, perfect example. It's a fine dining establishment. It's very, it's up there in cost, right? If you go there and you try to pay for it, it's up there. If you use the dining plan, you're able to experience it without necessarily spending the same amount of money. But again, the last thing I want to talk about before we get into it is a lot of times they will use that as a promotion. So, free dining plan if you book these 2 weekends, or I remember if you were a Disney Plus subscriber when it first launched, you got the dining plan half off or something like that, right? So, again, talk to your travel agent, talk to them about doing it. They will gladly put it on for you at the time of booking because it's commission, and it helps them commission, grow their commission. So I personally think it's a good idea for families over 3 or 4 people, especially if you get into the 5 or 6 people. For 2 people, I'm maybe a little bit downplaying that, because you don't necessarily, like, you and your wife are going to split a meal or whatever. And my wife and I might be okay with like a turkey leg for the day and then go back and have something else, right? But
Right.
if you have kids, if you have a large party, if you're maybe trying to do it on a budget and you need that fixed number of dollars spent, I think dining plan's a very reasonable option to engage with. So
Yes, I agree with that completely. So if you go to the website, and I can put this in the show notes, where you can find the information about dining plans on the Disney World website. But if you go there, you're going to see, they have a quick service dining plan and the Disney dining plan, which is what includes all the table service. So you'll also see underneath that Phantasmic dining packages for any of the festivals at Epcot fall under this. All stuff you can use your credits on. So let's start with quick service, okay? And the base idea with any of the dining plans, I should say either, there's only two. With either of them is you're going to get 2 meals per night of stay. So if you stay 4 nights, you get 8 credits. You can use those credits in any combination through your stay. You get them at the front of your stay, and if you want to use all 8 of them on your first day, you go right ahead and do that. You just have to take care of whatever you're eating the rest of the time you're there. But that's how it works. You get 2 quick service. You also get 1 snack or non-alcoholic beverage per night of stay. I believe that non-alcoholic turns into an alcoholic if you're old enough. Yes, it does.
And also, this is for anybody ages 3 and up. So it's not per party. So it's 2, however you work it down, per person over 3 per night of stay.
Yes, it's good you pointed that out. Yes, everyone gets this, and it's all or nothing. If you are on the reservation in your room, you get a dining plan, or everyone gets it, or nobody gets it. You can't pick and choose, because that
You
would
can't
be
say,
nice if you could add it for 2
right?
people. And
You
but
can't say grandma. Oh no, grandma's not going to use it. Yeah, grandma will use it.
yeah,
She absolutely will. Or in case.
and here's the other piece: when you go to eat, they aren't going to say, well, that's a kid, you have to use a kid credit on it. You just say, I've got 4 credits, please use my credits, because they don't track the credits that way. They just give you whatever the credits are. it does say in the rules that you must order from a children's menu if they are 3 to 9, ages 3 to 9, but they're not tracking that. So, now to
Nope.
say that that can be helpful, I tried to do that with my kids the first time we had it, and I would order adult meals for my kids who wouldn't eat all the adult meals, and my wife and I each had our own meal who couldn't eat all of the meal that they gave us, and we were actually taking the leftovers and putting them in our room in case somebody needed a midnight snack. We never touched the midnight snacks because, one, we're sleeping and exhausted, and two, there's another meal coming with more food
Hmm.
to eat. So, if you have a kid that is going to eat that food, or you think that you have a person that's going to eat more than the food they're getting with their meal, then go for it. But it's not a big deal. So yes,
Portion size at Disney restaurants. Sorry to cut you off. Portion size at Disney restaurants is kind of insane if you think about it. I
it,
mean, if
it,
you really think about it, I have never once walked away from a Disney meal going, "Oh, you know what? I wish I'd had just a tiny bit." No, I always walk, "Oh, I shouldn't have eaten so much."
and back in the day, in the 2016, 2012, when we took our kids, very first time we took our kids, and we were doing this, so many French fries and so many chocolate cakes because you
Oh
got
yeah,
a dessert, and it was typically it was this little, and the old timers probably remember this. It's a small little aluminum round thing, maybe about this big, and it had chocolate cake baked right into it, and a little frosting and some sprinkles on top of it. And by the end of the week, I didn't want another one of those chocolate
no,
cakes. In fact,
no.
thinking about it, I want to go ask my wife if I can get her one of those chocolate cakes. She'd probably tell me absolutely not. Uh, but they have since gotten away from that. They have made it much better dining options, I guess is the way to put it.
I mean, the dining plan also went through a revamp fairly recently. This quick service pullout is a little bit different than it was. So go ahead and keep going through it.
All right. So after the meals, you also get a snack. I tend to think use a meal for breakfast, a snack at lunch, and a dinner credit. Then, however you want to use it, though, is up to you. But that's how I tend to think of it. Take that snack in the middle of the day when you're running a little low on energy.
Yeah.
And go use it on the cheeseburger spring rolls, not a bottle of water or a bottle of Coke. Use it on the cheeseburger spring rolls. Use it on the higher ticketed snack items that you can use it on, because as we said, that's where the headache can come. If you want to get your money's worth, you need to buy all of the most expensive items. That's
Mhm.
when you get real value out of it.
Or use it. This is where I found it was really fun. You're going online and you're reading all the mommy food blogs and you're reading, the top 10 Disney food items at, you know, the Flower and Garden Festival or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, I would like to try that crab rangoon creme brulee. I don't know if that's one of them, but I'm gonna
That
go
sounds
with
weird. Okay.
But sounds totally weird, but totally perfect for Flower and Garden, right?
Okay.
So you're gonna try this. You're gonna try this weird thing, is what I'm trying to say. And you're like, I don't want to pay $12 for it, but this is where your snack credit comes in, or your kid's snack credit that's not going to eat anything but apple slices that you brought from your bag anyway, Cheez-Its. You go try it, and you take one bite of it, and you're like, oh, this is absolutely disgusting. No one on earth should try it, and it goes in the bin. But that's you weren't out anything. it's not like you had to not buy the pin that you wanted to buy or the sweatshirt that your kid wanted or whatever, because you were able to, you'd already paid for the money. You already paid the money for it.
That's very true. And I'm sensing you are a very big proponent of the dining plans, which I was for a very long time. But then I started not needing to eat as much. So
Like I said before, I am for people in a budget and with a bunch of kids. So if my wife and I went just the two of us, I would not be. I would be more for, let's put it on a gift card, let's, portion the money out or whatever. But, when you're going with kids, you want to try the weird shaped cookie that looks like, Baymax or whatever. You want to try the fun things. And a lot of times our adult sensibilities get in the way of that. And so the dining plan relieves some of that pressure on that.
Yeah.
If I have to make the choice between the Baymax bread, which is yummy, that doesn't work because dining plan is not in California. That's the other thing to remember. If I have to make a choice between the Cheshire cattails at in wherever it is, and paying the rent, even if that's not true, that's what's going through my head. So I'm a big proponent of having this safeguard applied and ready to go. So
yes. All right. So when it comes to a quick service meal, you get an entree and a beverage at breakfast, lunch, or dinner. That is quick service. So again, if you're 21 and older, that can be a beer, wine, or cocktail, depending on where you are. Or you can get those specialty drinks too if you want one. If you're looking for something non-alcoholic.
what's your favorite specialty drink?
I have no idea. I don't do specialty drinks. I told you that.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Are you just like a water person all day at the park?
Water and Coke. I'll have a Coke here and there. But yeah, pretty much just drinking water, free water, by the way, which you can get anywhere that has fountain soda.
True. So here's the big thing: the dining credits, especially these snack credits, work in Galaxy's Edge. So when someone says bottled water, I say blue milk.
There you go.
That's what I say.
Not green milk, blue milk.
No, not the green milk. The blue milk it's blue milk.
My wife thinks they're both horrible. So,
well, I love your wife, but she and I have some very different Disney opinions.
What you cannot get with your snack credit is something that is more than a single serving. So you can't get a box of donuts or a jar of peanut butter. You can not get something that's served in a souvenir container. So that awesome looking Figment popcorn bucket that they're selling right now, you gotta pay the full $30 for it. You can't use a dining credit on it. Anything that's considered to be merchandise, such as bottle toppers, glow cubes, or bottle straps, are the things that they give as an example. And any special dining events offered at certain table service locations, you can't use it on. So don't know exactly how or what that might be that they're talking about, but they'll let you know up front if you can't use it. Quickly before we get into the regular dining, you can keep track of all of these meals and snacks by looking at the receipt that you're given. It's also tracked within your My Disney Experience app, and you can just ask anybody at the resort you're staying at or guest relations, so concierge or guest relations in the parks, and they'll help you figure out what you have left. Having it on the app is tremendous. And
that
yeah,
my Disney Experience app is one of the best. It's such a good app. It really is, and it's gotten better and better and better and better.
Yeah. Yep. The one thing that I will throw in there is that if you're ordering a pretzel and you want a cup of cheese with it, or an extra cup of cheese, be careful. If you're doing this online, it's going to want to apply a snack credit to that cup of cheese that costs $1.
Hmm.
Pay the $1. Save the snack credit.
Yes.
Make
Yeah.
sure that it's charging you the $1 for that cup of cheese so that you're not wasting a credit on that. That is one thing that I will say you need to be careful of and watch for, is that certain things like that they want to charge a snack credit to, I wouldn't do that. Pay the $1. Go get spring rolls instead.
I'm sensing you're a fan of the Cheeseburger Spring Rolls.
It's just the example I have in my head right now because you get 2 tiny little spring rolls for $9. That's a really good use of
Yes.
that credit.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You didn't bring your own cheese. They didn't just let you
No.
leave with Wisconsin cheese in your pocket.
And in
Oh.
fact, the place that they get the cheese that a lot of people refer to as plastic cheese comes from a place here in Green Bay. I have actually hunted it down, but you have to buy it in bulk. So I haven't actually gone and bought it. But that's how far I've gone because Mickey Pretzels are awesome and the cheese just makes it better. So
I mean, okay.
Stuart, go get yourself some cheese.
I gotta go pick up my kid from Culver's in a little bit, so they've got cheese there.
Let's see. Dining plan, the regular dining plan. You get to have a quick service meal per night of stay and a table service meal per night of stay. So that means you're sitting down at a sit-down restaurant once per day, or you could do it twice a day and use your credits then that way, and then quick service both meals another day, however you want to put that together. And like I said, you can use it on the good old dining package for certain things. At least I have in the past. I don't know that yes, character dining, signature meals. Be Our Guest requires 2.
Mhm.
Um,
So that's where you get into the banking them for a day. Maybe today we go to Be Our Guest, and then tomorrow we, eat our peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or however you need to figure that out. Um, it's also per night of hotel stay, so it's not park days. So if you stay at the hotel for 7 days, you pay for 6 nights or whatever it is. You're going to get 6 dining credits. If you only have 4 park days, right?
you're still
You
getting
still
those
have
6
to,
credits.
you're still getting those 6 credits. So that's a good distinction too. You're not exactly spending all of it in that. And so that's when you roll into getting your Instacart order of your peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or your granola bars or whatever. Because a pool day, I mean, a pool day is a really easy day to have a really relaxing, not food heavy day, right?
Mhm.
If you have just snackies all day long, and then maybe that's the day you decide to go walk around Disney Springs or whatever, and you can go see all that stuff. And it's also worth noting that a lot of the dining packages work with restaurants at Springs. You have to be careful because some of them don't, but a lot of them do, and
Right.
it's a good use of that time of that as well.
So if you want to use a table service credit on breakfast, you get an entree and a beverage, or you get the buffet, whatever it may be. So if you're going to buffet or family style, I should throw in there. So if you go to Ohana, they bring you giant platters full of food, more than enough for anyone to eat. And you can get more, more of that. It's all you can eat type of meal there. And so you would get that plus a beverage. Meals redeemed at brunch, lunch, or dinner, so later in the day. And the nice thing about when you're booking these reservations is they will tell you whether it's lunch, breakfast, or dinner. So you will get later in the day, you'll get an entree, dessert, and a beverage. So that's another way to look at it. Use your table service credits for maybe a meal where you're getting that dessert instead of on just a plain breakfast. Quick service breakfast is probably the better way to spend your credits, unless you're doing a character meal. Character meals is where you're going to make your money on table service credits, because they do charge extra there. So,
Is Chef Mickey's a 2-credit meal?
no, they have them listed here. Fairy Tale Dining at Disney at Cinderella's Royal Table is two credits. Akershus, Princess Storybook Dining at Akershus Royal Banquet Hall, lunch and dinner only, is going to be 2, and also Storybook Dining at Artist Point is 2, which I think is one of the best character meals that I have had at Artist Point, which is at Wilderness Lodge.
I have to go there. I keep hearing about Artist Point, and I keep hearing that it's pretty amazing. That's going to be on the bucket list, I think.
There you go. I think one of the best ways to use your quick service, though, is pizza pickup. 2 credits gets you a large pizza and 2 drinks. Now, we haven't talked about the good old soda mug, refillable mug.
Yeah, the refillable mug.
I believe these are up to $24 now.
Yeah,
if you buy it outright. But everyone on the dining plan gets one. You get
You do?
refills at your resort. You cannot use them in the parks.
Nope. You may be asking yourself, why? Go ahead.
Because soda makes a lot of money in the parks.
Yeah, it does. But how would they know, Brian?
Oh, yes, there is an RFID chip in the bottom of the mug that will turn the soda fountains on. Now, when they first started the program, they would actually work. Staying at the All-Star this last time, I could just walk up and push the button and have it dispense the soda into my cup without it sensing my mug. So it's working for the most part. There sometimes is a delay in how long it can be between refills. It's usually like a minute. It's not that long, just enough for you to go, do I really want to stand here a minute? To fill it again. But I have bought one and shared it with my wife, because we, like I've said, have not used the dining plan the last few trips. But it is nice to have those cups and send your kid in and say, go get me some soda, and they can run in there, grab some soda quick and come back. Or themselves, whatever it may be. The fun part is that we like to resort hop. We will go from resort to resort, and we take these mugs with us because we can use them at any resort, not just the one you're staying at. And that's where it becomes a great thing to have.
But the dining plan ones are confined to your resort.
No, you can use them at any resort.
Oh, well, there you go. I read that wrong. Sorry.
It's all right. We would,
but it doesn't allow you to do it over time. So, like, if you're outside of your stay, you can't go into the resort and be like, here you go. Bloop.
Well, yeah, each mug is good for 14 days, and then it's shut off. And
Right.
You can't use it there anymore.
Right.
I have a cupboard full of these mugs. I have 8 of them on display right now of these mugs that I just have hanging down here in my studio. Um, but I have a ton more from so many trips that I'll use them for coffee in the morning a lot of
Yeah.
times. My daughter uses them all the time for drinking water. Whatever. I mean, we just love them. Some of them have handles, some of them don't, and it depends on my use of whether I like the handle or not. Which it was a controversial thing when they were going back and forth between those. So, um,
I do like the idea that you have a cup that you get to bring wherever you're going and use that, so you're not making waste with new cups and having to wash them and
yes,
rewash them and all that sort of stuff. That is kind of cool.
and you can bring them into the parks with you. So if you want to get that free ice water in the small,
Mhm,
you can dump it into your resort mug and have it covered in there and not have to carry around that cup,
mhm.
But I stood in line next to a guy at Gaston's Tavern one time, and he had 3 of these mugs in his hand, and all he wanted to do was get them refilled. And I said, "You can't use those here. You can only use them in the resorts." And he says, "No, they told me that I can." And I wasn't going to fight with him, and I didn't want to be the one ruining his day. I just didn't want to, I just wanted to help him not stand in line too long. So I did not argue with him. I said, "Well, that's not what I know." And I just left it alone. And I moved on without getting to see the outcome of it, but I knew what
Oh,
already. So
yeah.
um, it was unfortunate.
Somebody wished him a magical day.
Yes, yes.
I
Um,
don't know. Hopefully, he wasn't a bad guy.
so Phantasmic dining package or any of the concerts, Candlelight Processional when there is an extremely popular narrator is a great use of a dining credit. You can book those ahead of time. Make sure you have that selected. It's an excellent way to put some money in having that Phantasmic package, so you don't have to wait in line before the show, and just walk up when you're ready. It kind of is that built-in fast pass for those experiences, and that's a great way to use it. You know, get that character
And
meal added on with Phantasmic. That's awesome. That's how we did it. So
and you don't have to use all. So if you have a party of 4 or 5, and the adults want to go to the Phantasmic thing, they use their 2, whatever. You still have 3, right? So maybe grandma's there or whatever, and you can send them a pizza or you can send them whatever. So they don't have to be used all at the same time. You can chunk them up a little bit, but you
right.
you know if you have 4 people using the dining plan and 4 people are sitting at the restaurant, they're going to use all 4 of them. But you don't have to have 4 people at the dining plan. I think I made myself clear on that.
I hope so.
I hope so. What's your favorite? What's your favorite? I mean, I think we've done this before, and I don't think this is what you wanted to talk about when we started talking about this. But what's your favorite place to sit down and eat at Walt Disney World?
At Disney World,
Yeah.
some of my favorite meals have been at Ohana.
Hmm.
Um, Anytime I'm talking to a first timer and they ask me where to go, I will absolutely every time tell them Chef Mickey. It is
100% agree.
yes, it is
100%.
the quintessential character meal
Hmm.
in Disney World. The
Hmm.
monorail's driving by you. It's a joyful,
Hmm.
fun place, and our trip in October cemented that for me. It still is. I was watching a little girl, probably 4 or 5, laughing her butt off at these characters, just having a blast, and that is what this is about. Go
Hmm.
there, have a great time. The food is good, and you get to meet 5 characters, that you don't have to stand in line for later because you've met them when they've come right up to your table and said hello. Um, so every time
And
Chef Mickey.
and Mickey waffles. I mean, come on. Who
Right.
doesn't like Mickey waffles?
Well, that's only at breakfast. We did the dinner this last time and still had it.
Oh,
It was really good.
really? Okay, so what's the dinner? Because I've never done the dinner. I've only done the breakfast.
It's a buffet. They've got 100 different things.
Oh, okay. So it's
Yeah.
buffet. I love buffets. I'm a Sizzler generation kid, right? So the grand buffet at Sizzler, right? That's my thing. But yeah, Chef Mickey's is the thing that they advertise to Gen X millennial kids on the Disney Channel, right? You go and sit down and eat, and there comes Mickey Mouse walking up to you, right? That's the quintessential thing. You're exactly right. I would have said Chef Mickey's as well. I love the theming in Beauty and the Beast. I love the different rooms, but I'm gonna be honest, the food was kind of meh. The gray stuff was in fact not delicious. Sorry, Lumiere. Um, uh, for me and my family, we were able to use dining credits at the Boathouse and fell in love with it. It's an offshoot of Gibson's down in Chicago. It's a fantastic place to eat. I know it's maybe a little. Some people may think it's a little bit overrated, but when you're having sliders and then a cocktail, it's kind of perfect. It's I love it. I would eat there again. I would eat there every day. Not every day. I would eat there again though. And then
Yes.
the other place that I really liked again was Ohana because again, you have Stitch and you have people walking around.
There are many great places you can go online.
Many great
and
places.
different recommendations, and also the menus. Look at the menus. I've offered up
Yeah.
different places to people, and I've said, go check out the menu. And the place I think they should go is not where they end up going, and they actually like the other place much better because of the menu. So, like my case in point was Yak and Yeti or Tusker House. And they went to Yak and Yeti because their kids would like the menu there better than what they were serving at Tusker House. Which Tusker House I thought would be what they would pick because it's a buffet and you get a character, you get 4 characters there. So
Satuli Canteen in
yes,
is that a snack? Is that a quick service
that's a
credit?
service. Yep.
Yeah. That for the value of that restaurant and what it provides you. If you've never been to Centuli Canteen, it's in Pandora. It's sort of whole grains, whole food type thing where there's not a lot of processing to the food that happens. So you get, maybe some quinoa, a quinoa bread and a whole bunch of other protein on top of it, or like rice and chicken or something like that. But it's very minimalistic. It's like you're eating on the Pandora planet. I forget the name of it. Satuli Canteen. Go there. You get way more food for a quick service credit. That's my point.
Yes. And cheeseburger pods are amazing.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. Maybe we did. I mean, this was a great episode that we just did. And it went really long on so many things that we covered. So maybe we need to do another episode just about places to go eat, like where we would recommend beyond the few
That's
places
true.
just mentioned, right?
That's true.
So that's something we should work on that.
Text
All right,
us your
guys.
favorite place to go eat.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Let us know your favorite place. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. Remember, episodes every Tuesday. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. As a bonus, leave us a comment and we'll read it on the show. So leave it on Facebook. There's always a weekly post of a new episode. Leave it there or, on the comments in YouTube. Better yet, find the link find the link to text the show in our show notes and we'll read that on the show. So, Stuart, as we like to say, some live close,
But others don't.
so let's talk about it. We will see you next time on Miles from Main Street.